Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He's also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
On my day, and he's just way better than me today. So, yeah, it sucks, but it's the game. We all know that. It's the game. Huh? So, in fact, I didn't feel the punch. I think that's what the knockout is about. I don't feel any pain.
Derek,
That's how I know I was knocked out.
keep on going.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
What's going on, guys? It's Backchat TV and I'm back with another video. Man, what can I say? This was an amazing performance by Anthony Joshua. Just finished watching the fight, the big heavyweight showdown with Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Just want to say, you have to excuse me, my sound quality is not great at the moment as I'm not at home. Having said that, I've got a few things to say about this fight. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. I feel like Francis Ngannou is just a legend, man. I think he's a role model. I've got a lot of good things to say about him. It doesn't matter that he lost the fight. He was knocked out in the second round. I think that Francis Ngannou is an amazing role model. He's an amazing figure for the sport. He carries himself as a champion. He always comes in shape. You know, he works hard. He's come from UFC having no experience whatsoever apart from his first fight against Tyson Fury. Boxing is totally different from UFC, completely dominated UFC, came over to boxing, and in his first fight, he's fought two of the best boxers in the world, you know, and come up short in both, but arguably won the first one against arguably the best boxer, heavyweight boxer in the world against Tyson Fury, and then he's come up very short against Anthony Joshua. I don't think that there is any shame in the performance. Some people might disagree and say, how can you say that he got knocked out in the second round? I just got a lot of respect for Ngannou. I haven't seen anybody else, you know, come from a different sport. First of all, his background, coming from Cameroon, we all know about his background. You know, he shouldn't even be doing so well, but he is, and that's because that's a testament to his personality, his character, and in his defeat, he was extremely gracious, and he also said that he wasn't done. He would fight in the cage, and he's not going to be leaving boxing, and I don't think he should. Don't think he should, just because he got, you know, kind of demolished against Anthony Joshua. I don't think he should. Now onto the fight. I predicted that he would lose. Even though I am an Ngannou fan, I predicted he would lose. I feel like he has come up against an Anthony Joshua that is extremely seasoned. You know, it's unfortunate. I think if he came up against the Anthony Joshua early on, the early Anthony Joshua who was knocking out a lot of people, I think he would have done much better, and he might have knocked out Anthony Joshua, to be honest. But this version of Anthony Joshua is totally different. This version of Anthony Joshua is actually better than the Anthony Joshua that was knocking out people in the beginning, recklessly. This is an Anthony Joshua who has lost. It's an Anthony Joshua who knows how to implement his best asset, which is his power. It's an Anthony Joshua who's put all that experience against Vladimir Klitschko, against the loss against Andy Ruiz, dealing with Andy Ruiz's fast hands. That's definitely a curveball. Dealing with so many different styles of fighters. Dealing with the likes of someone who's quite sneaky like Parker, who's quite athletic. So there's a combination of all these wins and losses, and changing trainer to Ben Davison, who I think is one of the best, most underrated trainers in the world today. All of those things, Francis Ngannou was never going to beat this version. You know, I saw the writing was on the wall when I saw Anthony Joshua win his last fight against Wallin. Everything was there. The timing came together. He doesn't rush his punches anymore. He doesn't telegraph his punches anymore. The footwork is so slick. Even the knockout punch, his back foot was pivoting, and he was pivoting away from Ngannou when Ngannou was trying to set up his right hand. He was just, pouring with the jab. A long time ago, Joshua would have rushed a lot of these things. As he was moving his back foot around, the straight right hand came from nowhere. There was no way Ngannou was going to see it. All these little things that he's doing now is because of the experience that he's got, and also the experience of fighting someone like Usyk twice, a slick, fast guy. He knows basically just how fit he has to be, how strong, and just everything has come together for Joshua to mount his best opportunity to become world champion again. This is his best opportunity to beat the top guys in the division. To me, Anthony Joshua has never looked so fast, so polished in all the different areas. And like I said, it's just come together perfectly for him at the moment. And for Tyson Fury, not so much. And what do I put that down to a lot of things. Like I said, the experience and all the things that's happened. But I also think that he's also learned that being active is extremely important. When you're active, they say practice makes perfect, and it's completely true. The more time you have in the ring, fighting different opponents, back-to-back training camps, the more it becomes, if you watch Anthony Joshua, everything was effortless. Everything was effortless. The knockout was effortless. The movements, he hardly got hit with anything. His distance control, and that takes time to come together. If you look at the opposite, someone like Deontay Wilder, his last performance, everything was off because he hasn't been in the ring often enough, training regularly and dedicating himself in that way. If you look at Joseph Parker, a man who's on the back end of a few devastating losses, he's been in the ring 5 times. And, it showed in his performance against Zang. It showed. I know he got dropped twice, but overall, he managed distance well. You could see that Parker and Joshua were 2 men that have got a lot of experience in the ring and a lot of time in the ring. And that makes a difference to the guys who lost. So, shout out to those 2 men being really professional. I feel like Anthony Joshua and Parker have real good chance of beating the best people in the world. And I don't think Parker is naturally as talented at all as the top guys like Usyk, Joshua and Fury. But I think that, he can really beat a lot of people just because of his activity. So activity is very important. In regards to the fight, the main issue I want to highlight is that Francis Ngannou is a UFC fighter. His stance lets him down at the top level, and there's no embarrassment about that. The hands are too far apart. He has his hands slightly in the wrong position, and the reason for that is he has to get out of a little bit of that UFC training. UFC stance with the hands is slightly different from the boxing stance. If you're in a boxing ring and you've got your hands wide apart, you're leaving a huge target. The reason why they do that is obviously they have to have their hands open to be ready to, stuff takedowns and all sorts of different attacks that you would get if you were in the cage. And it's very different from boxing. If you look at Anthony Joshua's hands, when he was within distance, close, let's say when he was at close range, Anthony Joshua had his hands up. When he was a little bit out of range, he had his hands down, but there was just a body positioning which was much more suitable to boxing than Francis Ngannou, and he was just wide open. That's the reason why Anthony Joshua was able in the first round to land that straight right hand, and Ngannou wasn't able to see it quick enough and get his hands up. His feet were in the wrong position, his hands were in the wrong position. In the second round, more of the same. His feet were in the wrong position, maybe he was too square. His hands were in the wrong position, too wide. Now, prior to this fight, I knew that this would happen because against Tyson Fury, he had the same issue. His hands were too wide, and Tyson Fury was able to jab and catch Ngannou flush quite a few times, but he just didn't have the power. Ngannou was dealing with a real power puncher in this fight. And so, you know, if you watch the fight with Tyson Fury caught him with jabs, but Ngannou didn't go anywhere. You know, Tyson Fury was rushing his work. Ngannou was able to counter. Ngannou was able to fence off some of those jabs. He was able to adjust his distance with his feet. But in general, Fury was catching Ngannou with that jab because he hadn't quite got his distance correct. And again, those hands were too wide. They were open as if his guard was open as if he was in the UFC cage trying to see what's going on with takedowns and all that kind of stuff. And it has to be a lot tighter. If you're in close range and you're within punching range, your hands need to be up and a lot more tighter. You know, if you're out of range, fair enough. We see fighters always having their hands down a little bit, but you know, there's just a transition from UFC to boxing that Ngannou hasn't made yet. And they're the fundamentals, and it's going to take a long time for Ngannou really to get that whole thing, you know, where it needs to be, so that he could beat someone like Anthony Joshua. The same thing would happen against Usyk for the same reason. Although I think Ngannou would last a lot longer with Usyk, but he would just get you know, demolished with shots from all angles, and it's an experience that you can't rush. You know, you have to gain experience. Anthony Joshua took years to get to the level that he's at now, you know, so there's no shame in losing. I feel like since Ngannou has thrown himself in the deep end, if he was now to go down a level, which he has to go down a level obviously, I feel like he's got a chance to beat other people. He's got a chance to beat, you know, even a Zang. He's got a chance to beat a Dillian White. He's got a chance to beat Deontay Wilder. He's got a chance to beat, the list goes on. Joe Joyce and many people, he has a chance to beat these fighters now, because he's already faced someone as powerful as Joshua, as quick, you know, and he can only kind of get better from here. So no shame in getting knocked out in the second round. It was a great performance by Anthony Joshua, and I feel like he's a real threat now. The threat to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury does not punch hard enough. I actually got Anthony Joshua as a favourite against Tyson Fury now, and I think there's a lot of people who have shifted and have Anthony Joshua as a favourite, and I've got Anthony Joshua doing extremely well against Usyk in a rematch, because I feel like he's found his timing and his power. Those things have come together. Early on in Anthony Joshua's career, when he was knocking people out, he had the punching power, he didn't have the timing. When he started to get beaten and have lackluster performances, he was gun shy, yes, but he was trying to, you know, get that timing right and that distance right and the boxing, and he was kind of stuck in between styles. And now it's come full circle. He's now got great understanding of his distance, of his timing, and of his greatest attribute, which is his power. And now those things have come together. He's delivering that power better than ever before. Forget the old AJ that people were saying, when is he going to go back to the old AJ? This is the improved AJ, you know, with the whole skill set. And I like that. I like the way he's looking now. I think he's the best or the second best heavyweight in the world, behind probably Usyk. I think he beats Tyson Fury. Obviously, it would be irresponsible for me to say he beats Usyk, so a man who's beaten him twice already. But I think he's either the best or the second best. And I'm actually looking forward to Anthony Joshua fighting the winner. And I think Usyk's going to beat Tyson Fury. So we're going to see a rematch between Joshua and Usyk. And I think it's going to be a great fight. Now, I wasn't going to talk about any of the other fights on this one, but we might as well talk about the other big fight. Almost, we should say it was a co-main event. Parker versus Zang. It was a bit underwhelming, to be honest. There wasn't much that happened in the fight, but Parker did get the win, and that's what activity gets you. To all fighters, young fighters, be active. The worst thing you can do is have long periods of time out of the ring. Be active, and that's the best way to win. And Parker and Anthony Joshua have really proven this. I had Zang beating Parker because I didn't think that Parker would be able to stand up to the power, and I was kind of right. I was wrong about the outcome, But I was kind of right. Some of the things I saw in there, I knew I would see. Zhang, just a bigger, more powerful man. He didn't even throw any power punches, and he knocked Parker down twice. But Parker, with more activity, he knew that speed and agility was going to be, you know, his kryptonite, and I think he used that a lot. He landed some good punches, especially I think it was the third round. I have to really watch it again, but he landed a few punches which shook Zhang. Apart from that, he had trouble hurting Zhang, and I knew that would be the case. But with his speed, he was able to hit Zhang flush with a few shots, kind of slow him down. I think that's why Zhang started to gas after a while. Zhang is 40, and he did look it in the fight, you know. He did look it. He looked a few steps behind when it came to kind of just agility in general. He wasn't able to pull the trigger, and he wasn't able to, you know, add on to some of the good work that he'd done in the fight. He dropped Parker twice, and on 2 occasions, maybe more than that, 3 occasions, he had an opportunity to step on the gas and finish Parker, and he wasn't able to do it. And he let Parker back into the fight each time. And that was due to just getting tired, which a lot of people said would happen. I never predicted a Parker win, so I was wrong on that one. I was right on the Anthony Joshua one, but I was wrong on the Parker one. I thought Zhang would be able to get it done, because I didn't think Parker would be able to hurt Zhang. And it was kind of true. Parker wasn't really able to hurt Zhang. The only way he was able to hurt him was later on when Zhang started to get tired. And that's when, you know, Parker really started to land those shots. But it wasn't even just as Zhang got tired, it was more just that agility. Parker just had more agility, and he was able to land the quicker shots and get his power shots in. And I think Zhang got tired quicker than we normally see him get tired. So, you know, Parker managed to pull out a decision. He deserved to win. I need to watch that fight again. I haven't watched it completely. I watched it once, but I need to watch that fight again. But yeah, Parker's done well. Joshua's done well. I'm sure they'll meet down the line. If they meet, Anthony Joshua still wins that fight for me. I don't think Parker has enough power or size. But yeah, great night of boxing. I don't want to keep rambling on. Let me know what you thought of the performances. I think Anthony Joshua saved the show, to be honest, because the Parker fight was a bit lackluster, and if this fight was also lackluster, it would have been, you know, quite disappointing. But Anthony Joshua did his job. Second round, great performance. Ngannou showed himself in defeat to be, you know, a class act, and I always suspected he was anyway. And Parker showed that activity is the key to success. Let me know what you thought of the fight. I'm on to the next one.
Guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? Guess who's back?
If you enjoyed the video, please like, share and comment, and of course, subscribe now or you will regret it forever.